I thought the last clip that we played on the Turning Point Tonight show on Real America's Voice was very, well, there's a lot more to be said that. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that Reagan clip and all of the things that Reagan was able to do here on One Last Point. One of the things I think, and this is obvious, everybody knows this, is Reagan was a fantastic communicator early in his career. He communicated through art. Then was it GM? Who was he was a spokesperson. Maybe it was GE. Glenn, if you know, was it GE?
It was General Electric. He did a radio program for them.
He was the spokesperson of General Electric at the time. Get out of here, Glenn. But I did want to. I want to play this clip again because I think it's super interesting. And so he's an actor. Then he's a spokesperson for General Electric. Glenn went through the Reagan Museum over the weekend to meet Eric Trump and invite him on the show, actually, which I think he actually did. We'll see if Eric Trump comes on the show and promotes his book. But Reagan is an actor, then he's a spokesperson, then he's a governor of California, which again is crazy that a conservative Republican was the governor of California not all that long ago, and then went on to be the president, a very, very effective president, obviously. But the guy was really great at communicating, and I feel like that is what I'd love to kind of hit on in this clip right here. This is the final clip we played on the actual TV show. Let me play it for you here, folks, on the social media exclusive content, and then we'll discuss a little bit of President Reagan.
Going to tear up the crown.
Nope.
They say we're always against things, we're never for anything. Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant, it's just that they know so much that isn't so. Now,
so I think the point I was making on the show was at that last part of, they just know, they're so confident of things that just aren't true. Like, masking works, 6 feet of separation. This is only going to last 2 weeks. This is just one particular instance, but Portland is safe. Los Angeles hasn't had cars burning in the streets. There have been no riots anywhere in the country. Those are all things that libs are so confident of, but just are factually inaccurate. But I think the first part of it was actually really interesting too. Conservatives are never for anything. And that is something that I feel like is very appropriate, especially in the modern age. You see so many times that people say, conservatives started this culture war. Conservatives don't start anything. That's kind of like in the nature of being a conservative. You like how things are going. You decide that, hey, the founding was a good idea. The way the country was set up is pretty good. And therefore, we want to conserve that. We don't start anything. We just try and stop a bunch of the stuff that the libs are trying to do constantly in their whole idea of progressing to, the next best thing. But I think that actually is more poignant on what is happening today, is that conservatives are never for anything. No, we're for sanity and staying true to the ideas and the ideals that made this country the best country on planet Earth. And I think that is kind of an overlooked part of that clip. But I don't know, it feels very important. Producer Glenn, do you have thoughts?
Yeah, I was thinking about that as you were talking, and over the weekend watching the No Kings protest, and just thinking about how they are always for something. They say they're for something, right? They're for Black Lives Matter. They're for No Kings. And I just wonder, who on earth are they seeing when they make these protest names? Like they're clearly for something, but it's never real. I've never heard anyone say Black Lives Don't Matter. I've never heard anyone seriously think there's a king in America, but they protest as though that's our position. It's a straw man all the way through. It's Reagan is very apt in that statement.
Well, no, and that makes a lot of sense. They know so much that isn't so, which is just like, it seems like all of, I mean, maybe there are lib causes that I'm unaware of, and maybe I need to watch more MSNBC. Maybe I need to punish myself for my sins and turn on Rachel Maddow's show tonight and figure out what that is that they're mad about. But most of the time, I think you're right. It feels like, hey, this is a thing that's not happening, and yet you're mad when we don't want it to happen, right? That's the whole thing with let's keep it light here so this doesn't get taken down off of YouTube. Glenn, by the way, is tasked with not putting up clips that is going to get us taken down. So anyways, all that being said, we're with tiptoeing around the we could say this on Real America's Voice, but not on YouTube. tiptoeing around the big idea that everyone probably recognized what it is. We're saying, okay, so this thing shouldn't be allowed. And then they'll say, well, it's not happening. And then we go, okay, well, then why are you mad that we're trying to not allow it? Like, if it's not happening, it shouldn't be a problem that we're not allowing it, right? This is kind of like two competitive, different thoughts here. But I don't know, Glenn, any thoughts?
I agree completely, and it was well said in YouTube appropriate terms.
So people behind the scenes, they don't sometimes we'll make a clip and I'll make a joke. It doesn't even have anything to do with what we're talking about. Like, we're talking about like illegal immigration or like climate change or electric cars or crime or whatever. And then I'll make a joke that references the thing that we can't say on YouTube. And Glenn will go, okay, so I know we weren't talking about that, but you said a joke that YouTube, the overlords of YouTube, we're not making a great case for YouTube here right now. He'll say, can we actually put that on? And I'm always like, yeah, throw it on there. But there's some other powers at play and some other things that are important to make sure we don't screw up. But there's a peek behind the curtain there.
This is true.
Well, that's all I have to say about that. I think Reagan is correct in so many different ways. He was a fantastic communicator, and maybe we should make it a point to play more Reagan clips. By the way, yeah, Glenn did go to the Reagan Library this weekend, met with Eric Trump, got his book signed, and I believe posed the question of whether or not he wants to come on this show.
I didn't pose that question in person, though, because there were 500 people waiting to get their book signed in a 1 hour window. Oh. So I got a fist. This is actually fun because I've never met Eric Trump before. I've never met any of the Trumps before in person. Okay. And I got up to the table and I mentioned, because Eric had said, when he announced this book was going to be released, that he was donating part of the proceeds to Turning Point in honor of Charlie after he was killed. Yeah. And I just said, hey, I heard you're donating part of the proceeds to this. I work for Turning Point. I'm very grateful for that. And he's like, oh, I loved Charlie. And he gave me a fist bump. And no one else got a fist bump, by the way. Nice. So I thought that was pretty special. And I'm in line because for security reasons, they said security and efficiency. No cameras out. Keep your cameras put away. We'll take the pictures. You can buy them later. That's cool. I love supporting the Reagan Library, even though they're $20 photos. So I get there and there's like 3 photographers and they did not get the fist bump in any of the photos. I was very sad about that. And but I did reach out and hopefully we can connect and bring Eric on to talk about his book, because it seems fast. I haven't read it yet. I'm on the first chapter because this was last night. But it's all about, the lawfare that the Trump organization endured. And I don't want to preempt too much of what Eric would talk about, but apparently he's the most subpoenaed man in history.
That's actually a really interesting point there.
For 0 cases. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have to default to the online adage, pics or it didn't happen. So I think I saw a pic of Eric Trump. Maybe you can superimpose this if you feel so inclined, of him going for the fist bump
on the screen. But his fist is out. I'm moving, and that's when they took the photo.
But because we didn't see it, there's no way of knowing if it actually happened or if you're lying like a lib. Also, too, I took out my phone to do some math here. 500 people in a 1 hour window allots for 7.2 seconds per signed book. So that's a pretty hefty interaction that you squeezed in there in just over 7 seconds.
Yeah, I probably bumped someone at the end of the line back 7 seconds who didn't get their book signed right then and there. I'm sorry.
Well, that's unfortunate for that person, but you did it for the cause. And by the way, just so the viewers at home know, Glenn's job is on the line. In fact, if Eric Trump does not come on, he will be terminated, as he had an opportunity to meet with the first son of the United States. And it's a make or break deal. It's you either close it or hit the road.
This is right. It was in my grasp. We'll see. We'll see if we can get Eric on the show. If not, I'll settle for Don Jr. That's cool too.
I don't know if you settle for Don. I think that actually might be an upgrade, considering he is the general in the meme wars, and Eric actually while doing very important work, is mostly doing stuff on the Trump Organization side. So I'm not sure who's the bigger get. Actually, they're both big gets. So
try for both and compare after. There
so
we go.
that we will allow that on the show as the executive team. We will allow that Glenn either has to get either Don Jr. or Eric, or find a new job. That's that's we run a tough bargain. We drive a hard bargain. We run a tight ship here at Turning Point tonight. So that's right. That. Well, this has been One Last Point. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and our podcast network wherever you subscribe to any podcast social media. I'm not making a good pitch. This is why this is at the end of the show. We're just relaxing, having a good time, and this is why you can only see this on the internet, because it's not great. Which really defeats the purpose of what I say on the show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get clips that you won't see anywhere else. And then you see those clips and you get this and you're like, oh, that was a waste of time. Don't unsubscribe though. I promise it might get better. Big emphasis on might. This is One Last Point.